Hello my sweet friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing Fodder-rific Friday. Fodder Friday is hosted by Marcee the Cranky Crafter. And in her channel, she gives you different types of fodder that she makes. I will be doing the same fodder, but I also will be changing a little bit of it. So let's get started. The paper is from Michaels, just the same one that she uses, 90 pound. I have my little blue bottle that I will be spraying my Maya watercolor set. I cut off the edges so that way I can fit the paper inside my palette. That way I always do reference to the colors that I want to use. I will be using these cheap brushes that I got at Amazon. I will be selecting colors from the palette, the colors that I normally use in my creative journal. And if you're wondering what my creative journal is, it's the one that I write all my thoughts in, but I have whimsical creations in it, things that I've done in the past. But now that Marcee is doing it, it gives me an opportunity to get back into it because I had so many. But yeah, that's what this is going to be used for. So Marcee started by coloring these rectangular shape, loosely obviously, but my Maya watercolors are very opaque, so even though I try to water them down a little bit, they still came out really opaque, really bright. So but that's okay, it doesn't bother me at all. So I'll be switching different colors, and I'm looking at the tablet where I had I was on her channel looking at her creation in order for me to make sure that I was getting it right, you know. So there goes with a deeper yellow. It's got a tint of orange in there, and then I'm going to go for the orange. I love these colors. They're like a little bit of autumny or fall colors that I really enjoy. But being that these are just going to be glue bottles, it doesn't really matter, but on a creative page it's kind of nice to have. So now I'm changing it to blue, and I water it down just a touch, and as you can see, it's just a little bit more translucent. Then the green. And then the really light pink, which as watercolor, that one seemed to be more looking like a watercolor actually than the other ones. The other ones looked like I did it with acrylic paint, but I didn't. Then I grabbed my fine liner and it's the black one. You have to make sure that everything is dry before you start using it. So we're going to go over the rectangulars that we painted. Then she made another rectangular on the outside of what she painted. She was very specific, saying we should have rounded edges. But don't worry, if you don't get the rounded edges, you can do, when you cut them out, you can use the scissor and round them out yourself, which is what I did. Then 2 parentheses, draw the little lines on it, and that's basically the knob. And then we're going to go do a straight line and do the tip where the glue comes out. And normally that tip is color orange. So there you go. I went and did the splatter and colored the tip just like she did at the same time. I do love the colors that I picked, so let's repeat the process. We're gonna go use the liner on the one that is being colored and go around again, rounding those edges a little bit, 2 parentheses, draw little lines, close that parenthesis, and then draw the tip. I colored it, and I believe I do the splatters. Oh, no, I sure didn't. I go straight to the next one. I had fun, but trying to do this voiceover hasn't been easy. A lot of noises surrounded me when I was recording, and when I went to post my video, I noticed that the volume was not on, so I was really upset. And this is the first time ever that I do a voiceover, so I'm hoping that it's turning out pretty good. Let's do some pink splatters, and I did love that one. That was my favorite. The watercolor was very diluted and it turned out really nice. The pink was my favorite. So here we go again. We're trying to finish it up, but you'll notice in a little bit that when I do the blue one, I mess it up, but I fixed it. You'll see. You'll see. There you go. Notice that? I forgot to do the parentheses. No need to worry. I still did it. I did the line, and then I used and drew the lines. There was no messed up here. Did I screw up? Hello? No, I didn't. So there you go. And then I said, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to do the other square. I forgot to do the other square, so let's fix that again and let's do it. There you go. Yeah, it's different, but you know what? It does not bother me. In my channel, we never go for perfection. Just remember that. Never for perfection. Did I have fun? Yes, I sure did. I loved it. It let me play with watercolor, which is one of my favorite mediums to play with. But I don't get to do it quite often. And I started coloring the tips, and I decided that those that were really opaque, I was not going to do the splatters, because as you can see, on the one that is like burnt orange, which is the first one, top left, you don't see the splatters. And I'm like, why am I going to splatter if it's not going to show? But on the pink, bottom right, you see that it does show. So I was very happy with that result. So I'm going over coloring the tips just like she did, and to my surprise, I was able to spread a little bit more of the paint, because some paints will not move if you wet them. This one did, so I am happy with that. And I did the splatter on that orange, but as you can see, you can barely notice it. So that is my take on the fodder from Marcee the Cranky Crafter. Hugs, Marcee. Hugs. I love playing along. I'm sorry I was late to join, but I'm glad I did. And that is my take on the glue bottle turned into a apartment complex. Well, building. Let's put it that way. It's just a building. So now I'm going to go and paint that smoke that comes out with a blue gray. And then we'll hit, I'm pretty sure, the bushes and the tree. Why buy embellishments if you can create your own fodder? You know, that's my whole thing. I used to spend a lot of money on buying embellishments, and now it's like, okay, well, let's just do something ourselves. I don't mind having the embellishments, but I used to spend a lot of money when I was scrapbooking on embellishments. And now that I'm doing the fodder, I just love how my journal turns out with the embellishments that I have created, which is kind of nice. It's like going back as when I was a child, but I never drew or doodled, so to me this is fun and also relaxing. So I do the bushes with mossy green right there. You see that? Mossy green, my favorite color. And then I'm going to go with a deep green, which is like the grass. So I want to combine two different greens for the tree, and the same thing I'll do for the bushes. Patiently, I water it down a little bit and then just spread the color around. That's it. That's all I do there. Sorry about that. My dogs are barking. The neighbor ran over her trash bin, and so yeah, they hear like a big bump or whatever, and they just start barking like crazy. So yes, so now we want to color all the curtains. Apartment building, it's gonna look very different once I'm done with all the painting on it. I think it's gonna look so darn cute. Now if you're wondering what are those things going down, those are stairs. I used to live in Brooklyn, and we had fire escapes at the back of the apartment where we used to live, and my dad would let us sit there, watch out, whatever. This is a very good safety feature to have in an apartment, especially if there's any fire. You could go down those things and make it, to safety. Yeah, so I'm using the yellows, the oranges, the kind of beige, with a little bit of brown, and then all my little houses are cute. Now you see that little corner right there? Those are exposed bricks. I like always to do that. It's a modern building, but it has a little bit of exposure of the bricks. Maybe it's not bricks itself. It could be a painting from an artist. Why not? So I did a little bit of red on that one, and I wanted to dilute it. So what I did was I kind of dried my brush as I was doing it. So now we want a bright red for the door, but it's like a orangey red, and it will stand out. See, it stands out. It's the only one I did, unfortunately. The glue bottle apartment building, which is kind of cute. I liked it. It's like going into a kid's storybook. So I am trying to decide the color that I want to use for the tip, and I decided to go for a dark gray, almost black, but not completely black. Then it was like a darker gray, and there you go. That's that. Last but not least, I want to find out what color I want to do around the building, and I decided for that blue. And I think it's because I want to do the windows, and for that I decided that I wanted to paint the windows, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, yeah, that blue is for the edge. Yes, that is correct. That was the trim. That was the blue that I picked for the trim. And then I decided to do the windows, which is the last step. And I feel like this building, by you coloring, giving it some color, actually takes life, right? To me, it looks pretty. I have never regretted doing fodder, and I used to call them whimsical creations in my channel. But I just realized that what Marcy does and what I was doing is the same thing. It's fodder. And yeah, this is when I dilute the blue paint for the glass windows. There you go. You have to dilute it. You can't let it be like bright blue. It has to be very diluted. So I put water in it, grabbed a little bit, and painted my windows. I think it's turning out really nice. Really, really nice. Now to do the branches of the tree and the trunk. I took a chocolate brown, and then I took a lighter brown and did the inside, and then I went back to the chocolate brown and extended the branches on the trees. You'll see that in a little bit. There you go. There you go. Piece of cake. Nothing, you know, they look like veins. That's okay, doesn't bother me. Let's do that. The paint was a little bit still wet, and it doesn't bother me at all. And that's it. That's it for today. I guess that's all that I have to show you. I hope you like what I did, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And as always, my friends, stay safe and craft away. Thank you for joining me in my crafty corner. I love you guys. Bye.